All right, let's just jump right into this because we are about to unpack a truly wild historical claim. The idea is this: a single family, a single syndicate, basically controlled the flow of trade on rivers for over 2,500 years. Yeah, it's a story that stretches all the way from ancient Sumeria to the American frontier, an empire that outlasted Rome itself, and supposedly it was all uncovered thanks to one single revolutionary key.
So, let me ask you something. What if you thought of history not just as a bunch of stories, but as a kind of code, an encrypted file? And if you could just find the right decryption key, you could suddenly see all these connections that have been hiding in plain sight for centuries. Well, that's the whole premise here. A key that doesn't just add a new chapter to history, it might just force us to reread the whole book.
And here it is. This is the key we're talking about. It's called Sir William's key. Now, it's not some ancient artifact. It's a modern forensic technology. What it does is it looks at all the crazy ways medieval scribes spelt a name, and it treats them not as mistakes, but as a deliberate code. So instead of just searching for Gardner, it searches for all 61 known variations at once. It turns a simple Google search into, well, a full-blown forensic audit.
Okay, so does it actually work? Well, just look at the results. Before using the key, a normal search for this one 15th century guy brings up 23 records. You'd probably conclude they're talking about 6 different unrelated men and hit a dead end. But then you apply the key, and boom, over 1,000 records pop up, and they all connect back to one single person. That's a 51-fold increase in hard evidence. This is the data that makes this whole incredible story even possible to tell.
So, now that we have our key, let's use it to unlock the past. We're going to go back, way, way back, and follow this supposedly unbroken chain to its very beginning to see how this syndicate, these Guardians, managed to operate for thousands of years.
Check this out. This quote is from the Vindolanda tablets, basically Roman military paperwork from Britain around 100 AD. It describes Gardinarius men collecting tolls on the River Thames. Now here's the crucial part. The Romans didn't start this system. They just showed up, saw it was already running like clockwork, and basically said, okay, you work for us now. They just absorbed these local guardians into their own imperial machine.
And this timeline, wow, it really lays out the sheer staying power. Empires rise and fall. The Romans, the Saxons, the Normans, they all come and go. But according to this theory, the function stays the same. The name changes a little bit each time, from Gardu to Gardinarius to Guardian, and finally to Gardner. But through every single invasion, the job never changed. Control the river crossing, control the trade.
So how'd they do it for so long? Their business model was beautifully, even brutally simple. Just 4 steps. 1, you control the one spot where everyone has to cross the river. 2, you check out their cargo and figure out what it's worth. 3, you take your cut. And 4, if anyone has a problem with it, you sound the horn, which is the ancient signal for bringing in the muscle or the local judge. That's it. That simple, repeatable process was the engine of their empire for 2,000 years.
Now, the story doesn't end in Europe, not even close. When the world started getting bigger during the Age of Exploration, this syndicate didn't just survive, they apparently exported their entire business model to the New World.
And this right here is the central idea for this whole chapter. When a man named John Gardner landed in Pennsylvania with William Penn in 1682, he wasn't some pioneer starting from zero. No, he was an operative, rolling out a time-tested system in a new market. The American operation was a direct, copy-paste replication of the London method.
And just look at the parallels here. It's almost like a plug-and-play system. On the Thames, the product was wool. The social networks were trade guilds, and the control points were official towns. In America, you just swap the variables. The product becomes furs, the networks are Masonic lodges, and the control points are rugged frontier posts. The details change, but the underlying machine, it's identical.
And here's how that American machine actually worked on the ground. You go as far up a river as you can possibly float a boat, and you build a tavern. You trade high-value alcohol for even higher-value furs. Come spring, you build a cheap barge, load it up, and float it all downstream with the current. Once you get to a major port, you sell the furs, sell the wood from the dismantled barge, and the river pilot just walks back upriver to do it all over again. Pretty clever, right?
And this wasn't some random, chaotic land rush. You can see on the timeline it was a systematic river-by-river takeover. They started in Philadelphia, pushed west along the Susquehanna, and their descendants just kept repeating the process, hopping from one river system to the next, taking the exact same model all the way out to the Missouri River.
So for 2.5 millennia, this river-based system was basically untouchable. It outlasted emperors and kings. But then, in the 19th century, a brand new technology showed up that would finally and fatally challenge the Guardians' ancient control of the water.
A new force was coming. It was one that didn't follow the river's winding path. It just cut a straight line across the land, and it was about to rewrite the entire map of commerce.
And that force, of course, was the railroad. It is so hard to overstate what a massive shift this was. I mean, think about it. For all of human history, trade was chained to the geography of rivers. The railroad didn't just compete with the river. For moving heavy freight long distances, it basically made the river irrelevant.
And the speed of this takeover was just breathtaking. Look at these numbers. In 1830, you have a measly 23 miles of track in the entire United States. Just 50 years later, over 93,000 miles. The Iron Horse didn't just win, it completely conquered the continent's entire logistics network.
So what happened to our syndicate? Well, true to form, they made one final pivot. Men like Donald Ira Gardner, a direct descendant of those Pennsylvania River pilots, became depot agents for the railroad in North Dakota. The family that once controlled the cargo on the water now just managed the cargo on the rails that replaced it, a faint, final echo of a once great empire.
So, when you pull back and look at the whole arc of this story, what does it all add up to? The scale is just, well, it's staggering.
2,500 years. Just let that number sink in for a second. That is the claim here. A single method of control passed down through a single group running continuously from the Bronze Age all the way to the Gilded Age.
So, to sum it all up, what we have is a single syndicate that just kept adapting to survive no matter which empire was in charge. Their power was based on a brutally simple and effective method of controlling river trade. And for centuries, the whole story was hidden by the very thing meant to protect them, those deliberate variations in their name, a cipher only cracked by this new kind of forensic key.
Which kind of leaves us with one big final thought. If a story of this magnitude, a 2,500-year commercial empire, could lie hidden in plain sight, just waiting for the right key to unlock it, what else is buried in there? What other empires, what other secrets are still waiting in history's dusty old receipts?